Hey guys, Clumsy here. Welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator. Time for some hiking. Hiking on the air. Oh, I'm pretty excited about this one. Very different from our previous streams. Past couple of streams, we were flying the Hawk. Amazing plane. Got an update just yesterday, I think. But I figured we'd switch it up. Go for a bit slower pace. Bit more my style, so I went ahead and bought this, the Milviz PC-6. It's a very famous plane apparently. I'm only learning about it now. I'm very new to aviation, but I am enjoying it so far, and I want to explore it with you because I have found the perfect excuse in Skypark. But before that, let's greet some of the guys here. I think we have Scotsman, Tom, and Patrick. How are you guys doing? Thanks for joining. DST hype. For US folks, we are now 1 hour earlier. The stream time, 7 p.m. Eastern is how it looks like right now, right? Anyway, so I found the perfect excuse in the form of Skypark right here. If you look at one of the recent updates, see that one? Tour the Appalachian Trail. That's how you read it, right? I think? Appalachian? Probably. And this seems to be a very long mountain range that's very famous for hiking in the US, spanning from South Carolina, is it? All the way northeast to Maine. This is what I'm looking at. Let me show you. This one right here. That didn't work as I planned. Why not? 1 second, why is it not appearing? There it is. Okay, so we have the Appalachian Trail Map, and we can see where it starts, where it ends. It starts here, north of Atlanta. And you can see the mountain range, kind of the geography of it, right? The contours of the mountains. Goes northeast all the way past Pennsylvania, all the way to Maine. I think that's how it looks like. Although in this particular tour from Skypark, it stops at Pennsylvania over here, like halfway point. So it's like part 1 of the tour. Alright, so let's have a look what this one looks like. Hey LL, how's it going, man? Perfect timing, we just started. Skypark in PC-6, exactly. Yes, you got it. You got it. 100% right, nice. And yes, I think you guys are well within these borders, right? I think, was it Tom? Aren't you from Maine? And Patrick, aren't you from, was it South or North Carolina? Somewhere near, right? So maybe this is actually right up your alley. So we'll see. And yes, we'll see. Hiking only footpath in the world. They didn't expect us to fly it. What's cool about this, if you go to the Discord server for this one, there's even a video that is linked to get you in the vibe. I can't link it here, we can't watch it, but it shows a video of the Appalachian Mountains and how scenic it is. And it even includes a Spotify playlist to get you in the mood while you're flying. It's really role playing when it comes to Skypark. It's all about the vibes. And one thing that I took note of is, you'll see this one where my mouse is. You'll want a small aircraft because many of the strips are grass and may even be hard to find. And I was thinking, I don't really have a plane that fits that category, not a custom one, and I'm in the mood for a new plane, to learn a new one. That's very nicely done. And I heard very good things about the PC-6 from Milviz. Yeah, so this is what we bought, and this is what we'll be trying out. So we'll combine the two together. I heard someone follow. Oh, Kick Tour, thank you for following. Appreciate it. Welcome to the channel, and feel free to say hi and join us. North Carolina, there we go. Close enough. Thank you. Yankee candles. Oh, I like that. Those smell very nice. We bought those a couple of times as well. Oh, I see. Sorry to hear that. H145, another level than the H135. I've heard good things about it as well, and I think it's now compatible with the what was that? Aileron FS, right? So it should have even better flight dynamics now. Might have to check it out soon. You have now a Logitech flight rudder pedal. So before you didn't have rudder pedals? Man, that's a real game changer. I remember the first time I had rudder pedals. Yeah, I had to practice just taxiing like an entire day. I had to practice because my brain couldn't get used to steering with the foot. Hey Alex, glad you made it. Sorry couldn't join the stream a while ago. How was hunting? Thanks for joining, man. I was just telling the guys what we'll be doing today. Appalachian Trail on the PC-6. So for the first hour, probably we'll be checking out the plane itself, and then we'll be diving into the actual hiking. Yeah, flying the trail maybe is more like it. So what we can do is put in this keyword #Sugarloaf. Not sure why it's Sugarloaf. Does anyone know the connection with the Appalachian Trail? But yes, so put in Sugarloaf, and then you will see the route. So this is how it looks. That's how it looks against the US map. And yes, indeed, that is in South Carolina, I believe. Or is it in Georgia? Where's the border? I'm not so sure, but it's north of Atlanta. We're starting off in, I believe this is Calhoun, this area. And then we'll make our way east. And there you can see the mountains there, the contours, right? And that's all of the grass strips I can imagine that we'll be stopping by. So it's going to be pretty interesting. Let's have a look at the details. You can see the differences, the variations in the slopes. He's here, the mountains, and you can see that the highest obstacle is 6,500 feet, which is not really a problem for this plane. Because if you look at the specifications here, can you see it? No, you cannot, can you? 1 second, let's go ahead and hide that thing. What do you call it? The face? Max altitude is 26,893 because it is a turboprop actually. It's not a piston engine, it's actually a turboprop. So it does very well with higher altitudes. Although I'm not sure how it works with the oxygen. That's a good question. I don't think it's pressurized, so maybe you'd need like oxygen, not really masks. You know that thing that you put on the nose? Maybe there is something like that. I haven't seen any oxygen mentioning about it though. Yar Jack, thanks for joining. How's hunting? Oh no, he followed me. Nice. Yeah, looking forward to checking it out soon too, LL. Maybe when I'm done with this one. Cumberland or Hagerstown or Frederick, Maryland on this flight. Thurmont, Maryland. I'm not very familiar with those places, but let me know if we pass through them. They're all in the mountains. I see. So here it is. Let's have a look at the details. This is what I mentioned. If you look at the route itself, you see there's like a video. And you can kind of imagine what this video will look like. It's all these kinds of views. It's very cinematic, music, and then it's changing scenes and whatnot. Very nice production. And then this is what I mean. There's like a playlist that they came up with. As you're flying, you play this and you get into the vibe of things. It's very nice. Lots of XP, 528. And then here are the actual airports that we stop. Yes, indeed. It's David Airport in Calhoun in Georgia, apparently. Sorry, my bad. It's not South Carolina we're starting with, it's Georgia. In Calhoun. And then that's the only, I think, proper airport that we'll be stopping by, because the others are pretty much grass. Oh, we do have concrete here. Yeah, it does, and this is what I like about Skypark. It does say exactly what each airport looks like. So you see, have like a satellite image, how far it is away, and then you have the photo, right? And then you have the details, if it's lit, if it's unlit, what kind of runway it is. There's even this one, 8 nautical miles to explore the highest point in the Appalachian Trail, Klingman's Dome. Does that ring a bell for anyone? Interesting. Okay. We'll have to take a look at the map later. Okay. But that looks good. It's going to be pretty long, so we will for sure not be able to finish this today. But we'll try to start it off at least. Begin. Okay, so I will trigger this later. I hope I don't forget. But first we have to check out the plane. So the plane itself, Milviz PC-6, Pilatus PC-6 Turbo Porter. It comes with 10 liveries, I believe. Pretty interesting ones. This is used a lot for skydiving apparently. So you open there's like a big door where the jumpers, where the skydivers jump out of. And then this plane is apparently very known for being able to descend in a very fast rate. So much so that it actually descends faster than the skydivers. So you know how it is, like the plane, right? And then the skydivers jump off. And then after all of them jump off, this plane descends very fast because of its propeller. It's able to like do like a beta, so it's kind of like an air brake. So it can descend fast without having too much airspeed, so it can descend very fast. It can descend faster than how the skydivers are plummeting or descending. So it's very fast, and in that way it can haul more skydivers. So I think it's a very famous skydiving plane. So much so that there are liveries dedicated to it. Good. Hey, Matt. Basta. Doing good, doing good. Thanks for joining. How are things on your end? So yes, it's been known for skydiving. It's known for, yeah, look at that, skydive. I would bet this is a real life livery. It's been used in the military as well, I think. It's originally a Swiss plane. Pilatus, I think, is a Swiss manufacturer. Correct me if I'm wrong. So it does have a Swiss livery in here. And there are others as well. Very interesting ones. The one we're going for is this one. Pretty standard looking. Pretty safe looking. And of course, blue and white. Georgia is a great song by Ray Charles. Maybe when I hear it, it will be familiar. Air America. Does that ring a bell for anyone? Alright, we have this guy as well. I'm just going through them. And we have military liveries as well, looks like, because this was used in the military too in various countries. Not exactly sure for what, but I would imagine it's a great plane for like hauling cargo, hauling some passengers. It's a very small plane, but it can go anywhere almost because of its stall capabilities, right? Short takeoff and landing. It has a very short takeoff and landing roll. That means it needs a very small runway, a very short runway before it can take off. It needs a very short runway in order to land. So it's very agile, it's very, it works with most airports. And I think one of its nicknames, if I got it wrong, if I get it right, it's like a Swiss Army knife in the air or something like that. And it's Swiss, so it's perfect, the name. Because it's so versatile. That being said, it's also famous apparently for being not the best looking plane. Very boxy, very yeah, it's not very aerodynamic looking, yeah, very box type, but I kind of like the appeal, so I have nothing against the looks. So without further ado, let's go and check it out. I hope the weather cooperates. If it doesn't, then we'll have to just see. We'll just have to change the weather, but as much as possible I would like to keep the original weather, the live weather. Okay, let's maybe put it at 7 AM. And then everything else I'll keep default because we actually can tweak this in the plane itself. There's an EFB, a tablet where you can change stuff in there. An aardvark. What is an aardvark? Air America is a CAA-run airline. Wow. Okay. Well, I didn't know that. Pilatus is Swiss. Thank you. Does that mean I'm a CIA agent now? Cool. You found Pomezania. Oh my goodness. Yes, that is an amazing map. Enjoy. Hey adventurer, how's it going? Perfect timing. We're just loading it up. Loading up the sim and hoping to check out the PC-6 today. We'll see how it works. There it is. Very early morning departure. We still have autumn. I still have the 4 seasons mod. Really liking it. Autumny vibes. I'm not quite ready for winter yet. By the way, how's it looking on your end, guys? In your respective homes? How are the trees looking? How is the weather? Is it still autumn vibes or is winter starting to peak out already? Okay, let's go. Ooh, that was a heavy base. Okay, here is the plane. Maybe it would be best if I... Also, one thing. Look at this. Controller, right? It's turned off. I'll turn it on. No more sound. So you won't get irritated anymore with it. So if it powers down, you won't wonder anymore if it's you. I finally turned off the Windows sound. Should have done that a long time ago. There's the plane. I think these are external fuel tanks, I believe. Yes, and then you can use that. There's a switch so that the plane takes the fuel from there instead of in the wing, the default fuel tanks. So that basically extends the range of the plane. It is a tail dragger, so it is very interesting. The handling is very weird for me on the ground. I've done a couple of takeoffs and landings. It all feels very weird. It all feels very fidgety. But hopefully we get the hang of it as we go on this trip. So don't expect much, okay? The trees are thinning out there. Ah, so it's starting. I see. So late autumn should be perfect, huh? Late autumn mod from ATS2. Yeah, unfortunately in ATS I'm getting that reddish tint. I'm not sure if you guys tried the late autumn for ATS already. But yes, not liking that red tint so much. Anyway, so that's how the plane looks. Looks like this guy is also very much interested in checking out the plane. Is that Patrick? Hey, Patrick. Ah, yeah, he's sold. Just walking around. Oh, that's a walk around, huh? Yes, they do have their own PC-6 version, I believe, Adventurer. There are, I think, 3 or 4 different developers who are working on the PC-6. It just shows how famous this plane is. But yes, I'm sure they will all have their quirks, pros and cons. So we'll see how that turns out. Alright, let's have a look. Now we can pay. I have to pay $987 because my pilot, I think, is somewhere in Europe at the moment. So we have to fly to the US and I have to pay for that. But I think I can reimburse it.
Hello and welcome to the state of Georgia, where you'll find the southern terminus of the Appalachian Trail. Today begins your journey north towards the endpoint for Part 1 in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. By the end of the complete tour, you will have flown through 14 states and over the original northern terminus at Sugarloaf Mountain. The Appalachian Trail is the longest hiking-only footpath in the world, and nearly everyone on the trail uses a nickname. You'll have some time in the air to think of yours. Go on, get started.
Nickname. What should our nickname be? Oh, I like that. I like the Evergreen. Evergreen nickname, for those who get the reference. Hey, Mark. Clumsy and the Geeks, how are you? Thanks for joining. Yes, long time no see. That's great, man. Perfect timing. Glad you made it. So let's have a look. This is where we're starting off. Okay, and that got recognized already. Also, it looks like we do have a couple of points of interest here. This is what's nice about Skypark. It tells you if there's a point of interest on the way. Now, I don't think these are all modeled in the sim. Maybe some of them are, because some of these are natural, how to say, landscapes. So mountains and rivers and whatnot. So if the satellite imagery is accurate, then we should be able to see it. But it's good to have like a marker there, so we know what to expect. Cool. Okay, so let's put that here at the moment, and let's start with the plane itself. Yeah, the accent, the thing is does kind of sound forced. Kind of sounds forced. Let's give him a pass there since he tried his best to guide us anyway. So I'll give him a pass just this once. One sec. I think at the beginning, control should be locked. Okay. So what I like is it also has a checklist for all the phases of flight. Now, if you're a fan of these, then great. If not, then there is a manual. Of course, there is a manual. I like this is also one of the things why I like third-party plugins versus Asobo ones. Asobo ones are very cost efficient, right? They're very affordable and they're very great to fly. But oftentimes, at least in the past, they didn't have manuals, which kind of took away a huge part of the experience. This one has a manual. PC-6 Porter User Guide by Milviz. Right, so it's 45 pages long, and it's I like the structure of it. It's very easy to understand. It's very, how do you say, layman. It's not really like a technical manual, you know. It's like they're presenting their product. So we have a welcome screen here, and I think you can download this from the web even if you don't own the product. So you can just study the details of this engine, this turboprop PT6A-27. I think this is a Pratt & Whitney engine. Some details in there, right? Requirements, and you have like instructions on how you should do it. Like use the modern flight model, turn off. This is very important. Turn off aircraft stress damage and engine stress damage in the assistance settings. Because some features, fancy features, this plane has some fancy features, we'll check it out in a bit, will not work, or you'll get a black screen if you try them out. Right, so I'm just going through here, and what I wanted to show is this one. So if you're not a fan of the in-game checklist, there's a checklist here which you can print or use on your other screen, right? It's the same thing, I believe, but it's a bit more immersive if you really like the paper feel. So you have an option. And it's not a study level plane. It's not high fidelity. Well, I would argue, because a lot of things are modeled, but they're not planning on having it like study level. But it's fun, and it has enough simulations in there. So I'm pretty happy with it. But yes, let's go check it out. Hey DG, thanks for joining. How are you, man? Should have done that voiceover. That would fit very well. That's true. That's true. Cool. So one thing that I really like in this plane, look at this one. It is a floating tablet. But I really like it. I like the approach. It folds very well, and it blends perfectly well with the environment, right? And even the textures of the cockpit here, pretty rough, pretty used, pretty worn down. Been through a lot. Fits perfectly with the vibe. So we have an EFB here where you can check out some things. We can have we can make the pilot visible, co-pilot or pilot. I'm not really a fan of that, so I turn it off. You have different external configs, different covers, right? And then you can set it up to be a passenger or a cargo. So if you look at the back right now, it's a cargo setup. You know what's cool is you can increase the cargo load. You can see the image here changing, right? And if you look at the back, it actually reflects what you see in the image. So the crates are dynamically changing. So that kind of is a nice touch to it, a nice vibe. And what's more, there is this, like you see here. Oh, if you noticed, fully loaded, remove the load. You see the plane kind of changing the weight and balance in there. And there is a trapdoor here. If you have the weight just right, like so, you see the image is like that. It looks like that thing. And it literally is something that you can, if you pull this trapdoor release thing, you can hear the wind coming through now because we opened the trapdoor. That actually drops off the cargo. If you're on the air, you can kind of like role play that, right? An airdrop. Pretty cool stuff. And then you can even hear the trapdoor closing. It's very nice, a very nice aspect. You have, or you can switch to a passenger setup. Pretty default. You can put in people. I don't think they're modeled though. Yeah, but the weights are, but the models aren't. So it's not that, I guess it's hard to model a believable human model in there. And what's cool is you can have it like skydiving mode here, where you have like this skydiving altimeter, I think. So this is, I believe, the field elevation. So how high you are from the ground. And at the back here, you have some seats at the back only, but here you don't. And this is where the jumpers would, can imagine jumping off from, right? Pretty cool stuff. Yes, it will be better definitely with steam gauges. I definitely agree, LL. But yes, at this point, even in its current state, it's fully compatible with the G1000 NXI now with the recent update. So it's a great addition. The accuracy is there, the vibe, the feel. It looks pretty real, as you would say. Good. There we go. So for us, for this trip, I would like to put in some cargo because I would want to role play that we're kind of trying to supply the trail, right? In the trail, there are different shelters. And we can kind of imagine that we are delivering supplies to those shelters that we're stopping through. So maybe we can add some cargo, and as we make one of our stops, as we do our stops, we can kind of drop off the cargoes bit by bit. So let's put it at 1,600 pounds maybe. 1 second if I can adjust this. 1,600, come on. Oh, 1,630, okay. So that's how it looks. We are almost filled to the brim here. Good. Nice. Okay. And then you can also change the fuel. So here is where the external tanks are coming. You see that external tank, right? You can turn that off. You can see the plane getting lighter. Or put them in for additional 32 gallons on each side, effectively almost doubling the capacity. So pretty nice. Pretty nice. We have a max takeoff weight of 6173. Current weight is 6050, so we are pretty close. Going pretty heavy here, but we have a long way to go, so I'll take that. There's even an option here, interesting enough. You can kind of like jettison the door. Because normally you can open it, you can unlock it like this, and then you can open it. I wish the animations were slower, right, on the door. Here it looks too fast like that. But I guess maybe the pilot's in a rush. So normally you open it like that. But there is actually an option to jettison the door, I guess for emergency purposes. Here, this lever. Operate door handle and pull lever inwards. Do not operate in flight. So you can do that. And then when you unlock it, the door is actually removed completely instead of just opened for emergencies, I guess. And when that happens, you can reset it so that it goes back. And there it is again. And there you just have to close it like so. But yeah, pretty nice. These kinds of things, very nice immersive vibe, right? A good salesman. We haven't even begun starting it. I really like it. I like those role-playing elements. Gives you the immersive vibes there. Okay, so that's how it looks. Let's go ahead and start it up. Also, one thing, you can see we have a pre-flight inspection, which makes sense, right? So you do the walk around on the plane, on the exterior, check that everything is good. You remove the covers. What's nice here is you can actually, in addition to this is normal, right? This is pretty standard with third-party planes. You just click it to remove the covers. What's cool is they actually added some instrument views here. So if you look in camera, if you look under instrument, you can see the default things. It's extend. Get this bigger. Oh, is that the extent of it? 1 second. Really? Okay. It's a bit of a shame. Now we have the PFD close-up. So these are like the default instrument views, right? Left switches, start up, all the cool and useful stuff. But in addition, if you scroll down more, you actually have external views as well for the walk around. So pitot cover, oh, you can remove it. And what I really like, and it's a very small thing, but I normally don't see this in planes, you can actually click here. So instead of using the EFB, you can actually click to remove the covers. Very small thing, but not often done. Prop tie down, so you can click, right? Intake cover, remove the intake cover. This just all adds to the immersion as you're starting your actually, I'm wondering about something. Let me try something, huh? Because what would be really immersive for me is if I could go to drone cam and remove it from here. Like I can simulate walking around like so and removing the covers by clicking on them bit by bit. It doesn't work. Yeah, I think drone cam doesn't work, unfortunately. That would have been great. But okay, that's the next best thing, I guess. You could go to instrument view and remove them. Exhaust cover. That's the guy. So that's the intake. That's the exhaust. Makes sense. And then you have the chocks. The chocks you can actually put in. There you go. Or remove as well. Right? Okay, there you go. Pretty cool. And then you can... there's a lock here which we can change. So the rudders are locked right now. So control lock here. And now they're working. Nice. Good. Yeah, it's really cool. Good. Alright, so that means, and then the EFB should also reflect what we've done. So now those covers should not be there anymore. Now there is something interesting here. The tie down blocks. Looks like it's for, I don't know when you use it, but it seems like something for bad weather. Just look at this. It's literally like a weight that is put on the wing there. It kind of makes sense, right? Makes it a lot more stable. But I guess you would only need that if it's like really strong winds or whatnot. Very interesting. Very smart solution. There's also chocks and skis. I haven't tried it. There's actually a variant I forgot to show you. There's a different variant of this plane which has what they call, I think, Tundra tires. I think those are bigger tires here. I'm not sure when you would use them though. But it's a different plane altogether. You select it in the main menu. It's a different plane. And then I believe in phase 2, where they will add another update, they will actually add the steam gauges for phase 2. And at that point, the prices will increase. So if you're liking this now, I might as well buy it already. So by the time when that comes in, you'll get it for free. And yes, so far Milviz, I'm pretty impressed with Milviz. This is my first plane from them. And I bought this. They didn't give me this. So all of this is my honest feedback on the things. Oh, then this window works. Cool. Again, you can hear the outside sounds working. Okay, so that's working. Removed. Everything is removed there. That looks good. Walk around is good. Doors closed and locked. Yes, we have them locked. Control lock. That's the one from the bottom there. We have it released. Flight controls. So I'm actually using my honeycomb here. Honeycomb alpha. Even though it's not a yoke. But I'm just using my left hand to simulate that I'm using a stick here. I like the sounds as you extend. You can kind of hear the boundaries. Okay. And we can check that if it's accurate. 1 second. Can we? Okay, there's the Aileron Deflection. Very interesting. I believe that's also that thing. Looks like an outside air temperature gauge. Should be around 30 degrees right now. That seems pretty hot. Interesting. Okay, we'll see. This is the parking brake right here. So if you pull it, that's set. Push it, it's released. And normally you have to like press the pedals. It's pretty standard with the parking brake, but it's not simulated. I don't think MSFS supports that yet. Power lever, that's this guy. Idle, you can see there's a reverse there. Idle control lever, so there is a control lever just like any turbo prop plane. It's like in the TBM, right? You have a cutoff, you have a low idle, and you have a high idle. And then this one is interesting. I'm not sure what the reasoning is behind this. But depending on the outside air temperature, you put the propeller controller lever, this guy. I have it mapped to my axis here. Either to feather, so you have to go into reverse, or full forward. So maybe 1 second. Let me turn on the battery 1 sec. Just to see the outside air temperature. 23 degrees. Okay, 23. That off. Alright, so it is above 10. So I go into reverse. You know that toggle prop reverser key. I hit that and then I go into reverse like so for feather. Good. Alright. Want eggs talking about yolk. Interesting. Okay, so everything is off at the moment. Starter, ignition, generator, aux fuel pump, all of these are in this row. So very organized switches. Landing lights are off. Avionics bus switches, this time it's those two. The bus tie, does anyone know what the bus tie is for? I see this a lot, but I don't really know what they're for. Do they just connect the avionics 1 and 2? Like they connect the readings together or something, maybe? So pull it out first, and then now we can turn on the battery. Right? We have caution, warning. Fuel system valve will open it. So over here, you just click it. There you go. But that's not closed. You can see there are two notches, close or open. And there's even a like a protection here so you don't accidentally close the fuel. That might get very troublesome. Right? Turn on avionics bus 1. Now one thing that's not yet implemented from what I can see, I think that's on the G1000 NXI, that's probably not working yet. I believe there is this what's the term? Is it reversionary or something like that? When you only have one screen enabled, all the engine instrumentation should be listed here too. Like, you know how when you have both avionics like this, you have the engine instrumentations in here in bus 2, in avionics 2, but when you only have one, this should move into a different mode where you see everything still. It's cluttered, but you still see everything. Because that's important when you're starting the engine, right? You need to look at the temperature, at the torque, at the NG or something. But that's not implemented yet in the G1000 NXI, so I think for starting this off, you need to also enable bus 2 for now. That's the only way you can see the engine instruments. If you know of any other way, let me know, okay? Fuel quantity is checked. We are halfway there. We have half tanks, but also the external tanks don't seem like they're here. Alright, so if you look in this one, we have 43 gallons on each side. That's what you see there. But the external tanks, they're not really listed here. And I'm not sure if there's a way to detect the fuel there, aside from just looking at the EFB like this, because this will dynamically change as we're flying later. I'll show you. That will lower or increase. Cool. Engine instruments, yes, we see them there. Low oil pressure, but that's okay. All temperature check, it's above -40. Indeed, it's actually in the green already. So now we can start the engine. And starting the engine is pretty typical with a turboprop. So kind of start the starter and ignition, allow the turbine to spin inside, and then we monitor the NG over here. And when it gets to a certain level, I think 12%, then we can introduce fuel by moving the condition lever to low idle. But if you do that too early, this plane actually models in a hot start. So imagine if you add fuel too early, the turbine inside isn't spinning yet, inside the engine. The turbine spinning is allowing airflow, right? But if there is no airflow yet, you can imagine it will get too hot. So that's what causes the hot starts, when you don't have enough air circulation inside, but you already introduced fuel too early. So that is modeled in hot starts are modeled. I haven't tried it yet though. Not sure if I want to try it now. Maybe next time. Okay, so the fuel pump is there. There should also be an indication in here, aux F pump on. Prop area is clear aside from Patrick there, who's still checking out the plane. Clear prop. Let's go ahead and turn on the starter switch. That's this one right here. There's even a guard there, right? You can hear, you can see the NG rising. Actually pretty fast, 19 already. Oil pressure, it has indeed risen. You also turn on the ignition at this point, right? And then 12% minimum NG. We are at 20 now. We can actually go to low idle, and you can see the temperature spiking up a bit. You can hear the engines pulling up. And the sounds are amazing. Just monitor that the temperatures don't go to the red range, and that's a good start. Max 1090 for 2 seconds. Low idle, starter switch, and ignition can go off now. Nice. Oil pressure, yes, is indeed in the green and stable below 60 degrees Celsius. And there we have it. Let's close the windows. It's a bit loud. There we go. We do have a gen fail though. We don't have the generator on yet, which makes sense because that's still here. So now that it's we're still in feathered mode, right? So now we move the prop to full forward. There we go. You can see the propeller actually spinning a lot faster now. You can also see the RPM starting to rise there. Oh, that's amazing sound. Very bassy. Let's hear it from with the windows open. Oh, that is very nice. One thing I really like about this plane as well is the propeller animation. I can't quite explain it, but it's very dynamic. It really changes based on what you're placing it. Like in the arrows, in the turbo arrow, in the warrior, the propeller is okay-ish, but I think this plane has a better propeller animation. It's a bit more alive, how I would put it. When you feather it, when the RPM changes, you really see it in the animation as well. Alright, but wait. Let's turn on the generator because I can imagine that the battery is discharging. This is part of the G1000 implementation. You can see should have an electrical system in here. Gen A, alternator A, so that's not working. We have bus 1, bus 2 voltage. If we turn on the generator now over here, there we go, everything is in the green now. Yes, so the battery is not anymore discharging. We also lose the gen fail warning in there. Although one thing I noticed, and I'm not sure if this is realistic, if one of these caution and warning lights if they light up, they don't turn off automatically. Like for example, I turn off the generator, you get the gen fail annunciation, right? And you get that caution. But when you turn on the generator, the warning disappears on the PFD, but that light remains, so you really have to click it. I don't know if that's real, but okay. One thing to note off: avionics bus 2, we already turned that on a while ago, and now we can push in the bus tie, which I still don't know what it's for. Bus tie breaker. There you go. To connect the avionics buses. So you connect avionics 1 and 2. Why would you need that? So that they're synced, maybe? Maybe. Okay, passengers, just fasten seatbelts. Landing lights as required. The landing lights is also one interesting thing about this. So you see here, there's a landing light. Just one, right? But there's also this pause light. And interesting, the checklist doesn't actually include turning on the beacons. Let's turn that on. Nav lights, I think, will be turned on later. So if you turn on the landing lights, you can see they are on, but they're kind of facing downwards. And that's because there is the landing light position. So if you go outside, do you have the new Thrustmaster flight yoke? And which one is that? No, I have the Honeycomb Alpha. So this is because the landing light is basically still retracted and the light is pointing downwards, right? Very nice attention to detail, because now if we flick this position switch, see what happens to the light. Where is it? There, okay. You can even hear it. Right? Now it's facing forward, and if you look outside, there it is. That actually reflects. So those small things, right? They all add up to the experience. So I really like the level of detail when it comes to the immersion. They have been advertising. Is this the Boeing one, the Boeing certified one? I did see it in my feed. Looks very nice. If you don't have a yoke yet, I think that's a very worthy product to check out. I have no experience with it though. It is indeed the one. Okay, there is also the tail wheel lock here on this side. We leave it to steerable in the beginning as we taxi, and then we lock it later on takeoff, so that it's not fidgety, but it still is, to be honest. Okay, so let's have a look. Now we are here. Let's put in our flight plan. Let's get little Nav Map here. Actually, Skypark. So we're starting off here in the, what's this? David, right? We're making our way to Golf Alpha 87 High Valley Air Park. So let's put that in just so we have a visual on the MFD as well. So let's put in, okay, flight plan. Let's go and press, move that, and we can use the keyboard here. Press this button, if I remember correctly. Yes, indeed. Kilo Charlie Zulu Lima. There's the one indeed. Calhoun David. Good. Now runway we're departing from, I'm actually not familiar with the frequencies here. Let's see if there is a frequency. Automated weather. Oh, there is automated weather. 119er 975. Let's go and tune that in. Let's see. 119er 975 was it? I like the bass when you turn the knobs.
Kilo Charlie Zulu Lima automated weather observation 1200 Zulu. Wind calm.
Calm winds. Okay.
10. Sky condition clear. Temperature 12C dew point 10C altimeter tree 022.
Now, that almost was believable, except for the fact that the outside air temperature is completely off by 10 degrees. But fine, okay. They mentioned that the altimeter is 3022. Oh, that is actually synced with this one. Okay, that's interesting. 3022. That puts us at around 720 feet, which is okay because I believe this airport has like a 650-foot elevation, so that's close enough. Looks good. Alright, so wind calm, let's go runway 35. You can choose whichever. Good. And then destination would be, let's just go direct. And you can see this might be a side effect of the 4 Seasons mod. This might be that one. You can see these like dark rectangles. I think that's the mask, the terrain mask, you know, for autumn, so that it's a bit more brown. I think unfortunately it also reflects in the map. That's one of the side effects. So just ignore that. Golf Alpha 87 High Valley Air Park, indeed. Okay, that's the one. We don't know which runway, 03 or 21. It depends on the weather there, so let's leave it at none. There we go. It's just so we have an idea where we need to go. That is how many miles away? 48 miles. Okay, not too bad. Not too bad. All right. You just got a wheel. What wheel did you get? Oh yeah, the struggle is real, I can imagine. Alright, so let's go ahead and release the parking brake. This plane is very fast, and I think it's a limitation at the moment with current MSFS. It's very fast on the ground once you get it going. There you go. Test the brakes, they are working. Nice. Flight instruments. Let's go and check. Let's zoom in here. Maybe we can zoom in enough so we can see the airport. The airport diagram, there it is. Not enough for actual taxiways, but enough to have an idea where we're going. Hey Dyson. It is sold in Milviz directly, so if you type !mods, go to the FS 2020 tab, there should be the Milviz PC-6 Porter in there as a one row, and there should be a link to their website in that list. I believe it's $29.99 USD, something like that. Runway 35 is on the left here. Okay. Thanks. Maybe I should move there to that other taxiway, huh? Because this looks a bit skimpy. Yeah, I'll turn right later. Yes, that is correct, Tom. That is correct. So on my end, I'm still streaming at the same time. No change on my end. But yes, because of your DST shift, for you, it's going to be 1 hour earlier, both the start and end. Alright. And then I'm looking at... I should look at little Nav Map here. Let's load it up. Okay. Where am I? There I am. 354 on the heading. That's the runway heading. 354. There it is. 354. Good. You see how the plane is starting to speed up even if I'm on idle? That's a known limitation at the moment, I think. Maybe we can go reverse. You see the propeller? How it changes the animation when you go into reverse? I love that. It's just so alive. It's very nice implementation from Milviz. Good. Okay, so that looks good. Stab trim. Oh, this is very important, guys. The trim is very important. So much so that you see this warning. Set correct trim before takeoff. And I think in the real plane, from what I've seen, they actually have warning horns when you don't have the trim set correctly, because it is critical that you have those correct Otherwise, the plane will be too unstable during takeoff. And even if you set them, I can assure you it's still unstable, at least for me. So I am not really sure how that all works. I'm still getting the hang of it. Let's put the brakes in here. Zoom out. There you go. Oh, we're starting to see the rectangles. Let's put it that way. Okay, good. Okay, let's see. Stab trim. So that's these guys here. They basically put everything in the green. So that's in the green already. Aileron trim is in the green. The most important thing here is the rudder trim. You can see it's a very different trim. Maybe this is for tail draggers in general. But you put the rudder trim all the way to the right there, the green spot. So you go here. You can hear the rudder trim. You can see the plane moving. There it is. All the way to the green area. Okay, looks good. Flaps 28 degrees. So you have the flaps up and down here. And you have the indication of the flaps right here. The sounds are very nice. Flaps 1, flaps 2, flaps to take off, that's 28 degrees. Flaps 30, landing. But for us, it's take off. Right? Looking good. And we look outside. That's actually that one. The flaps working as intended. Do the brakes slow it down on idle? Yes, you can use the brake to hold it. So you need to constantly be on the brakes because of how fast it goes. From what I've read, it's one of the limitations in the current sim because the current condition lever implementation is not yet there. So right now I think they are using like a workaround that the condition lever still acts like a mixture knob. That and what they did is at low idle, it's like the mixture is at, I don't know, 40 or 50%, and when at high idle, it's at like 80% or something like that. So it's still it's not quite like how a turboprop plane should behave because of current sim limitations, but it's close enough. So it's not that bad. Let's have a look here. We have some reference speed as well, 64 knots for rotation. 77 knots would be our VY, our best rate of climb, was it? But yes, it's the ideal speed for climbing, or the best rate of climb. Oh, you know what I mean. Free and correct, full travel. Let's see. Yeah, that looks good. Altimeter setting is good. Actually, that reset 680 now, 680 feet. That's even more accurate. Fuel quantity is checked, yes. Aux fuel pump, let's turn that on. Actually, it is still on. Anti-ice we don't need, it's super hot outside. Oh, look at that, it also updated now. Outside air temperature is now 12 as well. When did that change? Even here it got updated, I'm not sure when. A while ago we were looking at 23, right? Interesting. Okay. Engine instruments, heating control, tail wheel lock. Okay, so this part right here, I think you do when you're lined up, because the tail wheel is what you use for steering, right? So if I let go of the, let me see if I can see here. No worries, Tom, no worries. So here's the tail wheel. Oh, it doesn't really change right now. Okay, let's see later. Let me pull back the parking brake. Let's release it. Okay. So here, once we start moving, you see it? You see it steering, right? So it's steering, it's moving the back. But when you're doing your takeoff, you don't really want that to happen. So you lock this so that when you move, even if you move your feet, your rudder, it stays in place like so. But we don't want that yet. We want to steer first, and then we lock it when we're lined up. I think this is the perfect time to switch to the next part of the stream. So let me do that.